Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Nerd On Update, the weekly show where we answer questions from you. But most importantly, we talk about the nerdy news that we're excited about. As you can see, we have the two most beautiful people of the Nerd On family. We got the one with the most beautiful hair, and then the one with the no hair. You know what I'm saying? We got to balance it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
As all things, balanced.
balance as all things.
Yeah.
Tonight we got a lot of things to talk about, but we as we
Lots.
do, we got to catch up a little bit. But Dave Barry, tell me about your weekend. What was the good news or bad news or some things that you want to talk about?
It was busy. It was what did we do? I mean, we have, birthday parties, birthday parties. That's a lot of weekends now in my life. It's like, all right, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese this week. We're going to yada yada that week. I went to see my parents. I haven't seen my parents in a while. That was nice. My dad designed and built the house I grew up in. I consider myself very lucky. My dad is a very creative and talented individual. Designed and built the house I grew up in, and it was never really finished. Like, not quite like Winchester Mystery House levels, but he did work at the Winchester Mystery House for a while.
Wow.
But he there's a lot of fun stories there. But like, he basically, like, I remember as a kid, like, he built the house, he got it like up to code, and then he had to go back to work, and he was never able to really finish it. So like, he has now, probably after 20 years, he's gotten it like 90% done. But the big thing he got done recently was the yard. So he has this big, beautiful yard now that the whole family can hang out in, trees and all this stuff. So we got to take the kids. They ran around, we played cornhole. I suck at cornhole. I found out not good at it, like even remotely, like not even the slightest. So we hung out. I got my parents. They hadn't seen my, the youngest in a while. So it was cool. She's crawling around. Just, like shit like that, just like dadding it up,
Dadding it up, man. It's
basically that's what I do.
It's not a fad, it's a lifestyle.
100%. What about you? What's big in your world?
Went to the Hollywood sign for the first time. It's one of those things, like, you do those local, like how if you're local, then you never do the things that like tourists do,
Sure.
So like,
Sure.
I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm a local and I got to do the thing finally. 8-mile hike, which was like, to me, that's not a lot. And I only say that because, like, you're just walking. And like, if maybe I'm, up in this crispy, misty mountain and shit like that, but it's more like, if it was like an actual hike upwards, I'm like, this is ridiculous. But like, most of it's just flat, and you're like, all right, cool. And then you go down, and you're like, all right, cool. Because like the what's it called, the grade or the incline is like super chill. It's super chill. I think it's like probably one of the most like accessible hikes that most people can do. Like, I would say, like, the very popular one that like I started going only because Kevin Smith was going was Runyon, and I'm like, this whoops your ass. I mean, this is hard as shit. So yeah, and if you go to LA, there's all these different hikes. Like, Griffith Park is like one of like the most beautiful ones, but it's hard as shit too. Like, I've almost died twice going. I'm just like, oh my god, I don't know how I could do this. But like, the Hollywood sign is actually pretty easy. There's like, the Burbank Wildfire Trail, whatever it's called. But anyways, enough about hiking. Can't believe I'm that guy now.
That's okay. Wait, isn't there like isn't like the Hollywood sign owned by a bunch of like random ass people?
Are
there a bunch of like crazy stories?
Could be. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'm a member of the TV Academy. If you go to the TV Academy theater, you can sit in these beautiful red chairs. But if you sit in them in front of you, you'll see the chair in front of you, and it'll be like,
right,
this is this person's seat that they paid for. And like, obviously that just means contributions because they're a member, And so I'm like, oh wow, like, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
But after that, hung out with some filmlosophers and some crusaders, Amy and Eddie. And we went to a spot in Downey. I went to the first ever McDonald's,
Dude. I mean, like, I went to the first like Starbucks this year, and you've gone to the first McDonald's. Like, that shit's pretty cool. It's some Americana.
It's interesting, right? Because it's like, we've talked about it. You and I both have talked about, like, there is no ethical consumption in the world of capitalism. But then you look at like this is where it started. How how like not the downfall, but the other brick
Yeah, I mean,
along the road
no,
of
you could
consumerism.
see, yeah, you could see how like this is the start of this like terrible, you know, capitalist regime. But at the same time, like you have fond memories of eating a Happy Meal as a kid, so it's cool to see where it started.
But
You know,
also,
like
it's part of history. You're just like, cool, I'm at this
yeah,
historical place. So it's like, yes, I'm at the Great Wall and I'm literally stepping on hundreds of thousands of people's graves. But I'm like, well, this is pretty crazy.
you can see this from space. This is cool.
Yeah, so I did that. So yeah, they were in Downey, and I went to Downey, and we went to this spot called Lock and Key, which I was like, I like the comic book, and they had like a lot of like little Halloweeny stuff there too. But
A fucked up comic book.
and they actually had like, it was such like a Instagrammy touristy spot that I was like, oh okay, they do the tomahawk, they do the gravity bong, smoky, you know, cocktails, which I'm like, look, if you're trying to impress and get, you know, style on some hoes out here, definitely go. But it was one of those like, damn, this place is fucking expensive.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, I mean, there's that, and then some crazy stuff happened over the weekend that we'll talk about on tonight's show.
Sure, things happened.
Yeah, I want to read off a little bit from T Dog, their news. They went to adult summer camp this weekend, and it was amazing. And yeah, it was McDonald's and Starbucks are definitely American like icons in our history.
Staples. Yeah.
Staples, absolutely. But with that, I mean, I think we can get into some news. It's just us two tonight, so we get to pontificate and, you know, elaborate and
Proliferate.
Do you say proliferate?
Yeah.
That's the right word, right? Proliferate. That's the ability, the keyword.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said that so many times, and I've always used it in the wrong way.
Are you thinking of like perforate, like fill somebody with holes?
No, I'm pretty sure I said proliferate, and then everyone was like, "What do you mean?" Then I was like make more of. But
yeah, it's the Magic the Gathering ability. Come on.
Yeah, I think I was trying to say. I think like extension. No, I was saying. I don't know. I was saying something else. Anyways, who else? You want to go first? You have some news. We kind of ran at the hip. We're kind of like shooting this from the hip, cowboy style, in terms of like we didn't write down our stories or whatever the hell we're talking about, but we're gonna chit chat about each other's like an actual, you know, talk show.
Like news. So yeah, so I got one. So last week I mentioned, or was it last week or the week before, whatever. So after the merger of the WWE and UFC under the TKO Holdings thing, within a week we get Pat McAfee, John Cena, The Rock, everyone coming out on SmackDown. It's like, oh, this is so cool. And it's like, yeah, it's because they are firing people behind the scenes and they don't want you to think about that. So of course, that was just office people, you know, it was HR and payroll people getting the can. And we're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. And then, of course, we're like, yeah, but when's the other shoe gonna drop? When's the talent gonna get fired? And then the lists start appearing. And it's always funny being on Twitter, because I refuse to call it X, being on Twitter when like these people are being fired, like in like live, like they're reacting to it live. Like one guy, he saw the post before he knew he was fired because he wasn't able to answer his phone, and that was his response to the tweet. He's like, I didn't even have my phone, like I didn't even know. So yeah, there was a big list of wrestlers that were fired, some of which are, you know, developmental guys, new guys that weren't really on TV. A couple of the big ones, just to name a few. Mustafa Ali, that one sucks because he's literally like in the middle of like a feud with someone. Ooh. And he was supposed to like wrestle on TV like this week, and they just like canned him. So it's like, okay. Dolph Ziggler, which everyone thought he was going to be like a WWE lifer, like he has been pretty much. So Dolph Ziggler is out. Matt Riddle. So I kind of saw this one coming. I mean, he's had a lot of random issues behind the scenes, like personal issues. And then with the merger with UFC, Dana White historically hates Matt Riddle because he got suspended from the UFC multiple times for like violating their policy of marijuana and everything. So this merger, I was like, he's not going to survive this merger. Like they already have issues with him. So Matt Riddle's out, along with a bunch of others. The list is online. It goes on. And so yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, we kind of, again, we saw it coming. Like there's always, you know, they post record profits and then they just clean house. Like that's always how it goes. Like, hey, we've made billions of dollars, everyone's so happy, our biggest shows in the world, we're gonna fire 25 fucking people now. It's like, okay, clearly, you know, that's not, you know, how business is done these days. So a lot of wrestlers gone, which sucks, but it's also, you know, there was a wrestler in the WWE. His name was Zack Ryder, and in the on the Indies, his name was Matt Cardona. And he put it best when he tweeted about it. He's like, "This can either be like the end of your career, or this can be the beginning of your career." Because he had like a fucking renaissance when he got fired by the WWE. He immediately was like, "I'm gonna go to these like little podunk towns and I'm gonna just be the king of the indies. Like I'm gonna go to GCW and I'm gonna have light bulbs shattered on my head and I'm gonna get chopsticks, not chopsticks, skewers, meat skewers stabbed into my forehead. Like I'm gonna do all this shit." And he went hardcore. He went like to all
Oh, you
these
got a
places.
huge beard after that.
Yeah. And
I'm doing visual next to your face, by the way.
So it's just been like he went hardcore into like the independent scene and it's just having a great time with it. Like he's popped up all over the place, NWA, Impact, like all over. So it's been really cool to kind of see. And he said like this could be like it's gonna be I hate this phrase, you know, it's gonna be a grind. It's like, oh fucking okay, and like you gotta hustle and all that shit. But what he's basically saying is like no one's booking it for you anymore. Like you gotta do it. Like you gotta book these events and you can do really well. And it's true. A bunch of these people are very talented wrestlers. Like, you know, the WWE can really be garbage sometimes, but it's you are learning from the best in a lot of ways. Like you are learning from legends in the industry, and so they've all had a chance now to work under some, you know, great talent. So this could be the opportunity for some people to, you know, turn around and have again like a blossom in their career. Now they're not there with a billion other people, you know, because that's the problem with the WWE is there's so many people there, it's hard to stand out. So now you can go to the indies, you can stand out sometimes.
What are some of the indies that people may be interested in?
Oh man, dude. So I mean, I'll tell you about a local one.
Okay.
Local to us, SPW, Supreme Pro Wrestling, right? So that's Sacramento based, Northern California based. And they've trained guys who are in the WWE now. But next month at their big show, Tommy Dreamer, ECW hardcore legend, is going to actually be coming through. Because the thing about these guys on these, if you're not in a deal with the WWE, if you're in a smaller company, they usually let you still work the independent scene if you have availability. Like if you're not booked for a month, go do a couple indie shows on the weekends. So he's going to be coming through Sacramento, and I think he's the Impact, I think it's like a social media champion is like what his title is right now. So he's bringing that through to like defend it in Sacramento, which is always cool. You get to have our guys against this guy who has literally wrestled in ECW, WWF, like Impact, all over the place. So you've got local, you know, we have local stuff. I mean, LA, like you want to talk about an indie scene that is blossoming. Like there's all kinds of stuff all over the place. Lucha Vavoom is down there. There's the big one that kind of had kind of a renaissance in the last year, so especially after COVID, is GCW, which is like the super hardcore style, like barbed wire, you know, and no, they don't do. I don't think they do weed whackers. That was CZW.
Jesus.
But yeah, but there's literally. I mean, we have there's like PCW, PPW, like there's so many independent like wrestling organizations all over the country. Like there is $10 says there's one in your hometown. Like when you were up here, did you ever go to oh, why am I blanking on what it's called?
Free Comic Book Day?
No, well, I mean, SPW would come with free comic book day, but the flea market up in Roseville, that really big one, Denios.
Yeah.
So Denios randomly has like these like luchadors, like straight out of Mexico, like these dudes who are like wrestling in like AAA and stuff and CMLL down in Mexico. Like those like be up here, like wrestling on a friggin' Sunday, like in a ring, just doing like flips and shit. So it now is a great time to be a wrestling fan because there's so much going on between WWE, AEW, Impact, and then everyone underneath that, and NWA, even though NWA kind of sucks and hires shitty people, and Billy Corgan's a fucking psychopath. But there's just a lot going on right now, so it's a really cool time to be a fan, and there are a lot of opportunities outside of the WWE. So it sucks that everyone that all these people obviously lost their job, but hopefully a lot of them can bounce back and do something cool.
Would you say a good community of the Sacramento wrestling scene?
I mean, I go to the same comic book store as a bunch of them, so yeah.
Do you know Scoot?
Yeah.
Jonathan, I forget his name. He was a cadet in RTC under me in Rio Linda.
Scoot Robinson.
Yeah, Jonathan. Yeah, Joshua Robinson. Yeah.
I think he's the. I don't know if if he's not now, he was the SPW champion.
Yeah, he was running stuff recently. For a while.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like a bunch of those dudes, like you don't realize, like the wrestlers are usually the ones booking it and doing everything too. Like they're all the behind the scenes stuff. I think he was the champion at least up until recently.
Do you know TMD? He comes from LA. He goes up because he's a guy. His name is Joey down here. But TMD is his stage name. And I was like, "What are you going to do wrestling?" He's like, "I got to drive up north." I was like, "Where up north?" He's like, "Sacramento." I was like, "Shit, Sacramento, baby." And then I was like, "Oh shit!" Then I remembered because like you remember things as a child. Like one kid who was like, "Oh, what's your dream?" I always ask kids, me and my peers and everyone I asked, like, "What's the dream?" And his dream was always like, "I want to be a professional wrestler." Then I was like, "Good luck, man." And then I found out years and years later that it was like, I was like, Josh Roberts, like, that's Scoot, man. And I was like, I don't know him as Scoot, but I know him as Josh Robinson.
Yeah, I think TMD. I think he again. I might not be. He was at least recently. He was the tag team champion up at SPW.
Could be.
He's part of the Rock and Radio Express, I believe.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah. There we go, man.
Yeah. No, I went to high school. A guy I went to graduate high school with worked in WWE for a while. He was he wrestled up in Oregon for Oregon State, and the problem is basically he was like nationally ranked, but there's only so many people that can go and like do the Olympics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like once you finish up, the next step is okay. You're a great amateur wrestler. Like, are you going to go coach it, or are you going to go do something else? Like a bunch of them, end up becoming teachers and coaches, or are you going to go into professional wrestling? And a bunch of them end up going into that. So I know a guy who went. He went through the WWE developmental. His knees gave him some problems. So he got hurt a couple times. So they cut him, and he's now running indies and doing stuff. His name's I think he goes by Cal Jack. Now he was Grizzly Cal Jack for a little while. But now he's his character is kind of like he is like an amateur wrestler. Like he wears like the spandex of like whatever the local, like he'll get like the outfit from like when he wrestled in Petaluma. He gets like the Petaluma High School like singlet.
That's interesting.
When he wrestles. So his thing right now is he is a wrestler. Like he's not like a character, because before he was kind of a mountain man. He'd wear like a
he has a little like fur on him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a mountain man. He was like part bear kind of thing. Now he's like he's a wrestler, and that's his thing.
Okay.
He's dope. He's super talented, and it was cool because like I said, I graduated from high school with him. Like it's a cool time to be a wrestling fan. That is for sure.
Nice. You had some other news. Do you want me to hop in with mine, or do you want to go with the rest of yours?
I mean, yeah, we could talk real quick. Some Magic the Gathering news, going from one nerd to another nerd, the wrestling to the Magic. So as everyone knows, big fan of Lord of the Rings. Like it's my bread and butter. It's everything that I've ever wanted and more. And the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set was everything I've ever wanted and then some. But so after the One Ring was found, everyone's kind of like, okay, cool. Prices just tank. Everyone's like, why are we going to keep buying these? Except for they're fun and they're good cards. But Wizards of the Coast announced that they have, or they're called scene boxes. The Lord of the Rings scene boxes that they're dropping. They're available for pre-order now, and basically it's all about the artwork around these specific new cards that are being released. We're getting like a Galadriel and Aragorn and Gandalf, and I believe the Witch King is the fourth one.
This is Gandalf, Grey Havens, Lost Owl Calling, Many Partings, Galadriel, the Lohala, and Elrond, Master of Healing. Yeah, I'm seeing. I'm just reading off some of the things that I'm seeing.
Yeah. yeah, so these four new ones. It's a new Gandalf card. Um, it's Aragorn. So yeah, so basically the artwork from each card like bleeds into the artwork from the box. They come like these easels for displaying them. So the cards are tournament legal. You play with the cards if you wanted to, or you could see like the expanded artwork that they're part of. So it's Aragorn at Helm's Deep, Flight of the Witch King, the Might of Galadriel, and Gandalf and Pelennor Fields. So each one of their cards, you can see just a little section right there. You see Gandalf like holding up his staff, but the artwork is him in Pelennor Fields. All that shit going on. So it's just really just a cool collector's item. It comes with a couple set boosters. Nothing special about the set boosters. They are just cards, random cards. So it's really it's a collector's item. It's about displaying the artwork and stuff like that, which I think is cool. I mean, I followed like a lot of the artists for Magic the Gathering, and artists that I've followed have then subsequently done art for Magic the Gathering, and it's really cool because you just see a little square, but really they're doing a full-blown painting that then might be trimmed down to fit into the card artwork. So you get to see some really cool stuff. So I've loved the artwork for the Lord of the Rings Magic sets. It's been some of my favorite stuff, and so I'm really looking forward to these, just to have another thing to throw up on the the collectible, maybe in that glass case that I don't have anything in that back like right there. Yeah, I might move Spawn, move that car, maybe put something up there.
Oh, that's I mean, go. I don't want to cut on if you have any more news.
No, I'm done, but I know where you're going.
Yeah, there's some Spawny news recently.
Yeah.
Which one were you thinking about?
Well, just that Todd said basically like it's like we're almost there, but like pending the strike. But like it's close to like hitting the ground running, or it's close to being done, being written or something. I can't remember.
He said that it's like he says like it's almost done pending the writer strike, which we'll get to soon. But I saw one where Modern Warfare 2 Season 6 DLC, they're gonna have Spawn skin, and then Keith David is going to voice it.
Dude, you wanna give me a reason to play Call of Duty after all these years? You bring in Spawn, and you not just bring in Spawn, you bring in Al Simmons as a playable skin too. So it's like, okay, I've got my special ops Al Simmons, and then I've got my Hell Spawn with all my chains and my pouches and everything. Like,
that's so good.
I mean, now the only problem is, of course, it's not one of those games where you can like work in his powers. Like, he's still just gonna like run and gun because that's the game. But like, if there could be like somehow like some green bullets or something, or like a finisher where like with the chains and like something like that.
It's gonna be the first it's gonna be the first 3/4 of the Spawn movie where he's just running and gunning.
That's it, dude. That's it. Just take it out, dudes.
It'd be cool if he got shot instead of blood, like maybe like Ecto came out.
Yeah, like the green bullet holes and everything, and then as you like heal, they like close up because that's I'll be down with something like that. I have back right there I have Al Simmons. Can't see him because how far away it is, but I have the Al Simmons and Spawn fighting in hell. When Al Simmons got like the double knives.
That's sick. Yeah. That's sick.
I love Spawn so much.
But yeah, so we had the Todd McFarlane, the Todd father, and then Todd father, and then so I guess we'll go to the big marquee news thing that we could both talk about, which is the WGA met up with the AMPTP for many days. I think negotiations started on Thursday, and then at the end of every day, the WGA West and East social medias would say like, we met up, we're in negotiations, we have yet to reach a deal, we are meeting tomorrow. And a lot of the trades, such as like Deadline and Variety, were all like, they're all aiming to hopefully have an agreement and a deal by Yom Kippur, which is today, the day of the stream. I have now experienced, I'm like, oh, wow. Like today, like I had a work meeting and they're like, yeah, for the holiday, we'll keep it light because not a lot of people are working. I'm like, oh, the roads were a little quieter today. I'm like, oh, wow. I was like, all right, baby. That being said, last night around like 8:30 or something like that PM, there was a decision, a deal, quote unquote, was struck. Now, the important things to know, because there's a lot of verbiage, was that it still needed to be codified. They still wanted to have certain members of the WGA to look over the wordage, because much like in Magic, if Barry and I are getting, our heads smashed in together by, Corey or someone else. And then I say, hey, if you don't counter this, I won't kill you. And then Barry says, deal. We shake hands. And so I do the move, and then I don't kill him, but I wipe his board. It's technically legal. I did take him out of the game, but I didn't kill him, right? So it's one of those, like, let's just make sure all the things are right. But effectively, all the picketing has stopped. They're still struck, aka work cannot continue until the deal is finalized. But that all comes to a big hooray, excitement, a cathartic cry, and happiness and relief that the entire city of LA kind of felt at the same time. But that also comes on the heels of another vote to strike that happened overnight, which was like another 98 percentile for the I forget the exact title of it, but it's pretty much the video game industry and all of the actors for that. So SAG is continuing to strike. It's kind of not known yet if they will have to kind of endure the same length that the writers did, but the fact that the writers have come to an agreement, unless something with the verbiage doesn't work out, and then also the fact that the video game motion performance actors are all joining in, it seems that maybe there's going to be enough fuel to be like, hey, can we come to an agreement soon? So
right. And that, of course, coupled with is it the striking employees can get unemployment benefits?
Yes.
Right. Because that I think, like, now between that and the strike funds, it's like, okay, cool. This can, like, this could be a war of attrition, so to speak, and we've already seen that. So they could, if they needed to, I think, outlast it. So hopefully they recognize now that it's like, okay, cool, one deal has been made, let's make another, and and one more for the video game guys. Let's just get everyone.
Yeah,
and the United Auto Workers.
Steve has entered the chat, and he says, right on the money, Barry. But he showed up.
Yeah, I got his news too, if you want me to.
Oh yeah, that. I guess. And so on the heels of that, there will be no more. It's only face.
No more heels. Yeah, only faces.
Only face, which
is heels and faces going places.
Yeah. Yes. But Stephen Amell, the show that he is the lead actor for, which caused a lot of hubbub, is the best way I can say it. Mainly to voice a sense of an objective report of what Stephen Amell was talking about. The strike. At the time, he did not agree with the, I guess, policy of how to strike. He understood the reason of the strike, but the principle that actors shouldn't be allowed to promote their projects will kill their projects is the part that he had conflict with, which was faced with a resounding no. And then later on, he was seen on the picket lines, much to a lot of people's, how do I say, Schadenfreude. Yeah, a lot of people had a lot of Schadenfreude for that. And, it's interesting, right? Like, we have, during this saga so far for the writer's strike, the actors are still striking, but in terms of the writer's strike, there has been a lot of characters in terms of, like, oh, this person, Tyler Sheridan, and then Stephen Amell, and then Drew, like, people at large who have said certain things and have acted in certain ways that will be, again, we're coming off of an entire timeline of a global shutdown, and there are characters there, and then we're still trying to rush off and go to the next thing without really remembering the lessons we might have learned. But Yeah, that being said, that show is canceled. I'll say about that, if you like it, go watch it. If you love it, go buy it. Go find the physical copy that you can buy and buy it and rewatch it. And then you gotta, I say it all the time, and I hate to say it, you gotta vote your fucking dollars. You gotta vote with your time. And I have never watched it. If you don't like it, then don't yuck someone's yum. If you like it, then go watch it and go do the thing and show the support and do the hashtags, all this stuff. Look, we live in a time where the court of public opinion really matters, and it's insane how much it matters. Sometimes it matters more than fact, which is really, really powerful. But with all great power should come with some responsibility.
A little bit, at least.
A little bit, just a little bit of that. Cool. And then, do we have any other news outside of that? No.
Yeah.
All right, so we can move on to some questions.
Oh yeah.
Some questions. For everyone listening, watching, if you're live on the stream, if you're in the chat, following 51 Jonathan's footsteps, you can put it into the chat to ask questions to be part of the show. Or for free 90 free, you can join our Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. Join the conversation, be part of our community, get your nerd on about certain things. Or maybe if you don't want to join a Discord because you just have too many Discords because your job makes you have a Discord and they contact you through that way, you can just go to nerdon.tv/questions and you can send your questions through there. Or if you do want to super support the show, you can, for as little as $1, send that over to us, nerdon.tv/Patreon, become part of the Nerd On Nation, and then you can ask questions such as Spencer138, shout out to you, one of our Nerd On Nation patrons. If you could only breathe from your nose or your mouth, what do you pick?
Oh man, that's okay. Wait, so if you can't breathe through your nose, does that mean you can't smell?
Well, there is part of the palate, which is, like the temporal lobe takes care of the nose, the mouth, and the ears. So you would be able to still taste with your nose as well as your tongue.
Okay.
So if you, I'm picking nose. I'm going to breathe out of my nose. I don't need to mouth breathe. I'm going to rot my teeth even faster.
I feel like I need my mouth to take in more air. Like, I feel like I can't, like, I've seen those guys who like do the workouts where they like tape over their mouths and just breathe through their nose. And I feel like I would like I'd have a panic attack and I'd die. So like, unless I could like bore out my nostrils to get some more airflow in there, like I got to go with my mouth just cause like for pure volume's sake. You know what I'm saying?
I have used mouth tape. So when I sleep, I only breathe through my nose. Just so I can.
Is it a thing? Does it actually do anything?
I mean, for me, for a while it did make my quality of sleep a little better for sure. I was just like, oh, like I realized like I'm like more, I need less sleep to feel just as regenerated. And for me, I just didn't like the idea of like my mouth staying open while I was sleeping all the fucking time. Like I remember as being a kid, like being like hit because like I was snoring. And so like I remember like having to train myself how to close my mouth while I sleep. And I was like, as an adult, what can I do? Oh, I could buy something. I could put some tape on my mouth and do that.
Okay, but then that like defeat the purpose of like a CPAP machine. Like you've got that getting like more that, that sweet oxygen up into them nostrils. But like if you're like doing that, then like you're like, I feel like you're that's, and it seems counterintuitive.
And I tell you, I train myself to try to only breathe through my nose when I work out, just to see what does it take. Because sometimes, yeah, to your point, if I need more air, I'm gonna huff and puff. But like if I can try to exert myself with only breathing through my nose, then I know my lung capacity. In that sense, I don't know. It could be all woo-woo bullshit for all I know.
Who knows? Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't fucking know. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not a, I'm not a guy. Don't even quote me.
all I know is I see this guy on TikTok who's bald and he puts the tape on his mouth and he has those big, like, it's like the weight, all like the cast iron ball at the end of the pole, and he just like swings them around as he stares very intensely at the
is he
camera.
black?
No, no.
Oh, okay. Because I was
He
gonna say, I
looks
was like, I know a guy who I went to college with, who I used to work with, who actually like he does endorse it, but like he's talked
Does that,
about it,
yeah.
and his like clip of it, because he does a podcast, because every fucking dude does a podcast.
Sure.
The company that like had the tape was like using his clip, and I was like, I remember that dude when I worked at Abercrombie. He's jacked as shit.
Oh, yeah, Abercrombie, of course. No, yeah, this dude looks like the guy who played. He's like the body of Swamp Thing. Like
Oh.
that dude. He's like 6. He's
Okay.
huge, and he's just got like those big like He's also got like those big, like they look like a cricket bat, but they're like it's got like a log on the end, and he's like swinging them around as he's just like breathing through his nose.
Jesus.
It's very intense.
That sounds intense. So I'm going with nose. You're going with mouth.
Mouth.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Spencer13H. Next question, Jose Cipher. Too bad Steve isn't on. What are your favorite fight scenes?
Okay. I mean, scenes, beautiful scenes. We're ready to go. First off, like I feel like the universal, the hallway scene from Daredevil.
Okay.
Like that, like just
Daredevil
the way that was executed.
1, right?
The Netflix series.
Yeah, Daredevil season 1.
Oh, season 1. Got it. Yeah, I think meant like I'm like nothing with Ben Affleck. That's not what.
There may not even be a hallway scene in
hopefully, I mean, who knows? Got to go back now and give it another rewatch. So Daredevil season 1, the hallway scene, the Duel of Fates from the Phantom Menace, and I wouldn't really. No, I was gonna say the end of Rogue One isn't a fight scene. That's just a slaughter. Like that's just Darth Vader ripping through dudes.
True.
It's like a coordinated, like duel between people. And then what's another good one? Those are the two that immediately just jumped into my head, like the Daredevil and Duel of Fates.
I think of Neo versus Agent Smith.
Oh yeah, come on, yeah.
He's starting to believe. I'm thinking of. I like the Daredevil season 2 fight more because it's the same time as John Bernthal's Punisher is going down the elevator and he's fighting. He's going through, and his mask gets broken. And there's one he just turns and looks. He's like, "Ugh," and I'm like, that's great. Like I don't need. Like the one critique, I feel bad. Like talking about things that we like, and I have to talk about something I didn't like. The one thing I did not enjoy about Matt Reeves' Batman, Pattinson's Batman, I don't care how skinny, make him as skinny, twinky as you want. I don't give a shit. I don't like the fact that he walks through a hallway like the Terminator. I'm like, that's so weird as Batman, like being like literally getting shot at, and he's just like, I'm going to walk as slow as possible. And I'm like, I like seeing like my Batman, like he is jacked up, bruised. He's like back against the wall, but like he's got it. He's gonna get him somehow. That being said, fight scene. I mean, I really love the Christian Bale first fight with Bane. No music, no score. It's all it feels like a shitty fight. Like all the people are looking at him, and like it's all in wide, so you just see how bad like Batman's fighting against Bane is. Thematically it's so good. I love, it's the classic. I love the old boy fight, the one shot.
Right.
I love fight scene. Oh, fucking Spider-Man versus Doc Ock, man, so good. So good.
I was gonna say the Captain America elevator against all of the Hydra agents.
Yeah.
Like anybody want to get off? Like
I mean,
fucking Princess Bride. The sword fight.
Inigo Montoya.
Wesley and Inigo Montoya. Where he's like, I'm left-handed, and he's like, oh, I have something to tell you. I'm also left-handed. And then he taught. Oh, that was such a good back and forth.
How do you say no to the Trinity Avengers fighting Thanos? Batflex warehouse fight.
It was a solid one. I
Is
agree.
insane. A Battle Angel Aelita bar fight is really good. I like that. What else is a really good fight scene? I mean, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Okay, so as soon as I start thinking of martial art stuff, there's
Yeah.
like it's not even like a scene. It's like a whole fucking movie.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like.
But
I'm
if
just
there is
thinking of,
one
like,
scene, Rumble in the Bronx, when Jackie goes and confronts the gangsters at their hideout, is pretty amazing.
Ooh. Oh, I mean, like half of Kill Bill, like just like all like, and then like I mean, probably 3/4 of John Wick, like.
Oh yeah, the John Wick movies are immediately.
Yeah, again, like you talk about like how like just like nasty some of those fights are, like the I think it was the last one, where him and I'm blanking on the character's name, but they're trying to fight their way up to like the cathedral for like
on the stairs, yeah,
on the stairs.
Yeah, Donnie Yen,
like,
yeah.
you the whole time, every time like they fall down, you're like, fuck, dude, like just keep like
it's a goal.
You're like, get up, you're going down, you're going the wrong way. And then like the French dude shows up, you're like, god damn it, like all those fight scenes are phenomenal.
I have to say, Ip Man, Donnie Yen, when he's fighting like a bunch of Japanese soldiers, is pretty insane. I'd say great fight scenes. I mean, we can go on and on all day for it. That could be a podcast. I'm gonna put that into the podcast itself.
That's a great idea. I was about to say now, because I thought about the elevator scene, when the Winter Soldier and Captain America are fighting Iron Man, after he he finds out the truth about Bucky killing his parents, and the fight they have, like, and you have the iconic image of him shooting the repulsors at the shield, like.
But I mean, like you that's how you end a trailer, is when you have Bucky, Cap, and then they're slapping the shit out of Iron Man. Which, in retrospect, you're just like, man, this motherfucker shot a tank in the first one. How the hell is he not just done with these guys, right? Like, it's one of those things where it's like knife versus gun. Depends how close they are, right? And it's like Iron Man's the gun, Cap's the knife. So it's like, if they're in close range, they got him. But there is a lot of good ups and downs in that fight, where it's like emotional fight, and then the mental fight, and then Bucky's out of it, and then it's like, we can't beat him. Analyze his fight pattern, and then boom, 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 boom. It's good. It's good stuff. I mean,
that was a great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. I want to keep going, but yeah, okay. Next question, because we got there's some questions in the chat that we'll have to get to tonight.
I'm starting to get like boxing. I'm like Rocky match. Like I'm like no, gotta stop.
Is it fight scenes? It could have been comic books and shit. Like like they do great. Just one panel, so it's like boom, 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 boom. One panels, one pages. T-Dog8282 asks, what is your favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh.
Steve's, this is your fault. There's another Halloween question here, so I'll make sure you come back next time.
Brings that energy. Oh man. I mean, I'm
Halloween candy though. What's the Halloween candy?
I'm not good with self-control. Well, I mean, because here's what you have to think about. Here's the thing about the ratio. Okay. The ratio, you know what I'm saying? Because like when you got like your full size Reese's cups versus your minis versus like the shaped ones. Like, have you ever had like the tree, like the Christmas tree Reese's cup?
I think so.
It's like shaped like a Christmas tree, and the ratio of the chocolate to peanut butter is off because it's different from the cup. Like the cup is perfect, you know what I'm saying? And when they do something different, like sometimes like there's some candy bars that when you go into the minis, like the ratio is not the business. And there is some like Halloween specific candy. Usually it's ass, like those super chalky, like skull candy, like little candy bones and stuff that just taste like the stick from the Pixie Sticks, like not Pixie Sticks, Fun Dip. Like no one likes eating the actual Fun Dipper. Like that tastes like chalk. And so are these little freaking bones. But like I think about like what I tend to go for is I tend to seek out Snickers actively. Like the mini Snickers are just perfect.
I'm using the visual next to you again. Mini Snickers.
Snickers next to my head. I'm a big Snickers guy, so I mean.
No, so it's just you, and then it covers all of me up. So it's just you by yourself.
Just everything I wanted in the world, just Snickers.
Absolutely.
So I'd say that there are other candies I feel like I don't get except around Halloween, like the caramel apple pops, which those are pretty good. But yeah, Snickers. 100%.
Caramel.
Caramel, 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 Caribbean,
Potato.
crayon,
Soda
milk,
pop.
milk.
Ben.
I don't know anyone that says Ben.
I've been there.
Oh, got it. Oh, I thought you meant like a trash bin. I
No.
was like, a trash ban?
Or
Yeah,
on
been
and
there, ban.
on.
Oh, okay. Weird. What's your favorite candy? Quit doing these weird fuck ups in the English language.
No, I like regionalisms. Halloweeny candy. The fact that you said you specifically it's a quantity, I was like, and portions, I was like, oh shit. I realized there is like specific branded Halloween candy, and it is always the small shit. And I'm like, oh yeah, like
Right.
I wouldn't say Twix because I want a full Twix bar.
Sure.
But I would say if it's a Halloween candy, the thing that I really enjoyed, it was only because I think I was an impressionable little boy. And my sister was like, this is the best. So I immediately adopted that. Was probably the Smarties.
Ooh.
Like the little chalky pellets that like,
Yeah, dude.
when you were starting to say like chalky bones shit. And I was like, that's probably the thing I like.
Smarties taste a lot better than those bones, though. Let's be real.
Well, no, it's okay. I'm totally secure. I'm like, if I like the shitty shit, then I'm like, I like the shitty shit. Like, I love vanilla ice cream and sprinkles. I don't give a damn. I could be basic. I could be a basic witch.
Okay, but you don't like, you know, like how many like old candy, like 40, like my dad like Necco wafers. You like Necco wafers?
Let me look. Hold on. Let me look those up.
Dude, Necco wafers, like Necco wafers, Boston baked beans.
You know what? I don't
Good and
hate
plenty.
those. I don't hate Necco
dude,
wafers.
Oh man. Oh.
Like, you know, I was one of those kids that like didn't realize that Werther's original isn't like a good candy, quote unquote.
I mean, Werther's is okay. Okay, but Good and Plenty. Do you like Good and Plenty? Are you a licorice guy? My dad would always take the box and he would shake it and he would Good and Plenty, because it sounds like a train, like shook, 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 shook.
You know, I think as a kid I despised these.
Yeah,
But I think as an adult I wouldn't care.
Licorice is terrible. That's why.
I mean,
Licorice is terrible.
I mean,
No.
just no.
Anyone can like whatever they like in anything except licorice. That's where I draw the fucking line.
What about
right?
red vines?
Red vines are not licorice, so that's a different animal.
Oh, okay.
Red licorice is not licorice. I will say that.
Okay.
And I like red licorice more.
Okay.
I mean, Twizzlers, like all that, but like that's like cherry and strawberry flavor. Like black licorice is ass.
Okay. Steve's answer is Reese's Cups. So
I mean, and again, this is the problem. Sometimes you get the ones that are like the little, like little quarter size ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the ones that are just a regular cup. You know, just a single serving of them.
Yeah.
It all depends, dude. Like, did you have rich neighborhoods where when you were growing up that you'd go to specifically because you knew they were gonna have the big ass candy?
My parents told me to stop trick or treating when I was like 9.
God, that's terrible.
They were like, "We're not gonna buy a costume anymore, and you could stop hanging out late at night with your friends."
God damn, that's awful. No wonder you are the way you are. But
Bro, I understand. I know. Man. I'm in therapy for that reason.
So in my hometown, we have, I think it's like a nationally recognized street. We have a street called Candy Cane Lane. And next to it is Lollipop Lane. And for the holidays, for Christmas especially, they go like all out, like almost, I mean, not quite every house, but almost every house on these streets, like huge light displays, right? The Candy Cane Lane, Lollipop Lane. So they would basically end up bleeding over, especially as the 2000s kind of went on and people started to get really freaked out about candy and drugs, and there's going to be fentanyl and razor blades.
Thanks,
and all
trick
this
or
stuff.
treat.
Yeah, and so you all of a sudden get like trunk or treats at churches would be a big thing, and like you wouldn't have as many trick or treaters. So Candy Cane Lane and Lollipop Lane would also go all out for Halloween and Halloween decorations, so that they were a nice, safe, bright neighborhood where you knew you weren't going to get a razor blade in your freaking Reese's piece, you know. But they would have a couple of the houses would have like big, like they would have like regular Snickers, you know, like not like king size, but like
Mm.
regular Snickers would just be giving those out.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
or like we knew a couple like rich houses that would give out king size bars, and that was always. But even some king, I will say some king size, the ratio is also off unless it's like okay, like a king size Kit Kat is just like a double Kit Kat, you know, but the ratio is right, you know, like a Twix where it's just like 4 of them instead of 2 of them, cool. But like if you do like a bigger bar, you know, you gotta get that ratio right. You know what I'm saying? Like it's important.
If Steve doesn't
Important
care,
shit.
if Steve says all Reese's, he's kind of like I want Reese's as much as I want Angela White, just in
I
any
mean,
form possible.
yeah, dude. I mean, I don't blame him there. I mean, Reese's are great. Reese's are great. Sometimes, like I said, the ratio could be off, but it's still delicious.
So he's Reese's, you were
Snickers.
Snickers, and I was Smarties. Those are all of the binned questions. Let's go ahead and get some questions from the chat tonight.
Fresh.
So from the chat, 51 Jonathan, aka Johnny Horror. Fun question. What fairy tale Dark Souls like would you want to play? AKA, I think this is based off the new game Lies of P, which is a Pinocchio game.
Sure.
So Dark.
So like what, like fantasy,
Yeah.
like what, like fairy tale getting turned into a Dark Souls game, basically. Oh man, that's a good one.
Can I pitch something to you, and I would just totally just use this as my answer? I've
Yeah, of
always
course.
wanted to do like a mini series, like a 6-issue comic book of we remember Fables, and the first issue is Big B Wolf solving the mystery of Red Rose, Snow White's sister's murder. Goes to Red Rose's apartment. There's blood everywhere. Don't know she's murdered yet, but it's pretty much solving a murder. I always thought of the idea like, wouldn't it be cool just to do like when Snow White goes into the whatever Forbidden Woods and then lives with the 7 dwarves. You know, in most cases she's quote unquote missing, gone. And I always thought it'd be really cool if Red Rose, the sister, was more of like the heavy metal badass sister who's like, don't take no shit from nobody. And I would have called it Red Rose and the 7 Orcs. And instead of sleepy, dopey, happy, angry, whatever, it would have been like laser, taser, like brasher, like thrasher. And so they would have been like badass dudes, and they just have like the most metal like weapons, and they just like tear down the forest and all that shit. And then at the end, it's like she's fine and living with Prince William. And it's like, I tore down everything for you. And it's like, oh, it's all fine. So if I were to do it, I would totally do it in that world, I guess, in the Snow White world. And like, definitely if it's all Dark Soulsy, then it's all like gone to hell. And also I've been watching the Kirsten Stewart, Chris Hemsworth, Charlize Theron Huntsman shit, and I'm like, this is kind of interesting. It's like the world is interesting. The world is more interesting than the story, and so it's unfortunate, but yeah, I was like, I would love to do that shit, because then there's multiple dwarves. There's a lot of dwarves. And they all have different names. And then like you could definitely do like some mythology and some like I even like you know Rammstein. You know what's it Sun? Their song, and their music video is like how Snow White comes in and she like does all this blow, and like all these minor dwarves are just like, dude, what? She's just taking all of our shit and then smoking. I was like, you could do all that shit. I'm like, oh, you could do a lot of shit with that.
I like it. I think that's a great idea. So I actually think about one that could be like remade in the 90s. I think it was the 90s or early 2000s. There was a gothic Alice in Wonderland video game.
Oh yeah, with the
Alice.
really skinny Cheshire Cat.
Yeah. And so I feel like Alice in Wonderland is one of those like, you know, tales, stories that could be, was it American McGee's Alice? That's what it was. What year was this? Wow, 2000. I think that could be a cool one to be done again in that Dark Souls style. Like, you know, you have all like the queens, you know, the different card themed, like, you know, her soldiers and everything.
Yeah.
Like some fucked up stuff with the caterpillar smoking some weed and whatnot. Like, you can get some cool shit out of some Alice in Wonderland.
I never played this.
I remember like seeing it in all like the video game magazines, but I never ended up actually like I watched like some like demos of it, and I think I played the demo at Comp USA or at Circuit City, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Dating myself right now. But yeah, I never actually got a chance to play it, but I always thought it looked so freaking cool. So I think that might be, you know, give it a second go. Give it a second go, but give it the Dark Souls treatment.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Damn. Blast from the past. Okay, good shit. Good answer.
Yeah, dude.
Last question of the night. We'll get this one from the chat. This one comes from our one, the only, the Azorian one. Question. Barry, you're a top name in the WWE. You're going to the main event, WrestleMania. Who's your dream opponent, and what would you want? Would you want to win or lose the match?
That is a great question. So I assume we're not limited here by eras, because if there's wrestlers today that, I wouldn't necessarily, like, if I was like limited to today, it'd be hard,
Mm-hmm.
but like all time, like I could think of a couple of scenarios.
No limitations.
So here's what I want. I want, if this is the WWE, this is not, nothing Japan or Mexico, this is WWE. I want the Undertaker. And I want Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I want a triple threat match for the title. I want to come in as the champion, but in a triple threat.
Wait, so who are you fighting? Who are you fighting?
Undertaker and Stone Cold.
Okay.
So the thing is, in a triple threat match, you don't have to be pinned to lose the title, right? Anyone could be pinned. So if I'm out of the ring and one of them pins the other one, they win. I lose the title, but I didn't technically lose the match. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't pinned. So I think I would come in as the champion. I'm not sure if I'd have Taker. I'm not sure who I'd have go over, but I would have them pin each other. One of them would pin the other one, so that I lose the title, but I didn't actually lose the match, thus setting up a wonderful 6 month to a year long program where I go out for a while. Maybe I'm hurt for a few months. Maybe I took everything out of me, but he didn't lose the title. He lost the match, but he wasn't pinned. And then I come back months later, back from injury, different haircut, walking on crutches, and then I swing. All of a sudden, I'm walking and I swing the crutches at him, beat him down. Come back for my title. I didn't actually lose it. I was never pinned. And that's my whole story. I was never pinned, and then that starts a beautiful storyline where I eventually regain the title at maybe like a SummerSlam or something like that.
The Undertaker is fucking huge. Holy balls.
Dude. The Undertaker is probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Oh, I mean, I remember seeing a few because I lived with a roommate who loved wrestling. I remember him coming, like, people were fighting. I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. These two guys. Blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, lights go out. Motorcycle comes in.
Bong. American Badass Undertaker.
So I remember that shit, and I was like, "What?"
The American Badass with the Limp Bizkit and the Kid Rock themes. Those are some pretty good times. But I'm all about the single bell toll and the classic, organ music and the him walking slowly down, looking like I'm fucking, because in professional sports, why wouldn't you have a being from beyond the grave who can summon fireballs and lightning and also wrestles for big gold belts?
So is American Badass where he has the bandana?
Yeah. So basically he lost, like, his character went away for a while and then he came back because the whole thing was he didn't talk. He was just this like rest in peace. He was just, managed by someone else, and he was this enigmatic character, and then he went away and then he came back, and then all of a sudden he talked and he was a little bit more of a, yeah, I'm the Undertaker, but he was the big red machine. That was his brother Kane. And he would come out on the motorcycle and the American flag and, Kid Rock and Limp Bizkit, and it was cool. And then eventually that character was buried, and then the Undertaker came back, and then he ended his career basically as the phenom, the enigmatic super being.
Oh, that's wild. It's comic books.
Dude, 100%. I have the Undertaker comic book. That's the best book. I think it's over there somewhere.
That's great. Good answer. Steve's looks like he likes this. Phenomenal answer. Love it. That's how you book. Look at my boy cook. He got the utensils. Watch him cook up. That's wrestling, baby. But yeah, that's. I don't have anything to add. That question was not directed to me. One day. Maybe. I always say this. And this is before you were jumping on the updates. I was saying like it would be great just to do a Nerd On wrestling match, and obviously I'm the heel. Obviously I'm talking all the mess and I'm beating everybody up, and then it's Steve's and you guys just just destroy me, just demolish. That's storytelling.
But I have this IKEA table back here that would be perfect to put you through. Right through.
I just don't want to get hurt, but I know it's real that you do really get hurt. So I'm like, damn it.
I mean, here's the thing though. You gimmick some of your items. So you cut your table strategically.
Oh yeah.
So that when you go through it, but there's still a chance that it's gonna a sliver of it's gonna slice your artery and you're gonna bleed out in the ring for the passion of the love of the product.
Yeah. Well.
We'll take care of you.
Yeah, I know. You guys always have. With that, everyone, that was the update. I hope y'all enjoyed. Thank you for spending the time with us, asking us the questions, being in the chat, populating our conversations with your lovely questions. We got a really cool. Is that Undertaker?
No, it's Bret the Hitman Hart.
This Bret the Hitman Hart joining us. This is a guest episode.
Undertaker's right there next to Swamp Thing. Up in the corner.
I see him. I actually do see him. He's on top of the box.
Yeah, because there's a glow in the dark one in the box.
Yeah, I remember that. Thank you to the Azorian one for being our. Technically, this is what like a mod would do, being our community mod, being in the chat, making sure everyone's cool and happy. 51 Jonathan for some of your questions from the chat and also in tonight's episode in the bin. Thank you to all of the people from the Nerd On Nation that help us keep the lights on. Thank you again, everyone. If you learned anything tonight, hopefully it just means that you took a break from the doom scrolling, from your everyday life to enjoy yourself, some nerdy news. Hopefully you are taking care of yourself, your loved ones. Those are the important people and things in your life. Stay hydrated, and keep on keeping on, stay in the good fight. If there's one thing I remember so vividly during 2020, was Barry saying, if you can't fight today, save your strength and recoup to fight tomorrow. If you want to, check out our YouTube. Actually, it doesn't matter if you want to. Just fucking do it, and then comment on every single video. Say that you like it. Say first, say second, say third, whatever it is. You gotta do it. You gotta pay with your money. Vote with your money. You gotta vote with your time. You gotta comment with your love. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Let's go ahead and find someone we can raid, send some love to. Bad Reprint playing Liza P, that Pinocchio thing. Tell him the raid word is going to be heels. Hashtag heels. Hashtag heels. With that, everyone, you all know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on.